FriendsChatZA. If you have not subscribed yet, honestly,
we don't know.
We
don't know.
Like,
we tried everything.
tried everything.
There's nothing else we can do.
This is rage.
It's a level of rage.
If you're not subscribed,
no,
you can go over to the Father of the Heavens. Only He can work with your heart. Like give it everything you have.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and do the things so that we can all grow as a community and continue to.
Because I mean, each of our 900 and something subscribers have friends.
Yeah.
How come 5 of your friends are subscribing? Just 5. That's just 5 of your friends.
Wow.
Family members.
You don't want your friends to be our friends?
Please, come on.
Make your friends. That should be the slogan.
Make your friends our friends.
And
And we can all be friends.
We can all be friends.
Join the chat.
Oh, we can all join the chat. Yeah.
As the year comes to an end, when one realizes that they haven't necessarily completed or done everything that they had on their to-do list for the year, there's a temptation to have anxiety as opposed to motivation. What we wanted to do in this conversation is to open up about some of the ways that you can keep motivated as the year comes to an end. And so, ladies on the deck, are you on the deck?
And if you want to hear more about this,
Stick around. Because it's coming to an end, it's like, and then what?
yeah.
But the same way 2017 came to an end and you're like, and then what, 2018?
Yeah.
So I think there is the anticipated anxiety that like, shucks, the year's ending. And I think most of the time it's around change. So changing school or going into school or going into varsity for those people. I don't know if we have viewers who are in high school.
Yeah.
I know my sister is in high school. People who are starting new jobs, that uncertainty. So just to like normalize the fact that anxiety at the end of the year happens, right? But we were wondering like how are you guys coping? How are you coping? Are you anxious about anything?
I mean, I don't want to give in to despair, but it's been a long year.
It has been a long year.
I don't think I'm necessarily anxious about anything, but it's more, I think I'm reflecting on a year that feels like there's so much good that's happened, there's so much learning and growing that's happened, that you almost feel that you don't want to miss the lesson. So that's more of my thinking, where it feels like, man, this year has been 6 seasons. That's how I feel. Season. It's just been great.
That's so true.
So it feels like there's so much that's happened that I want to reflect on, but it's not too much an anxiety. More an anxiety about, I really hope I take what this year has given me into 2019. Because I do feel like there's a different way of thinking and being that this year specifically has taught me. That I'm just like, I really hope that this stays, that this is something that I take on to the next couple of years of my life. So, yeah.
I think for me, from the back of what you say, is that nothing, whether good or bad, that has happened in 2019 is in vain, right?
18.
In 2018. What did I say?
2019.
I'm moving forward, move with me. None of it is in vain, and I feel like for me, whether it's like I can see exactly what I've done or not, like I feel like there's been so much internal growth, like so much of the struggling and the questions and the doubts and the suffering or whatever else that came with it has brought about some kind of growth, and being able to recognize that conscious level of being like, oh, I'm a better person, I can think more clearly, I can make decisions better, I'm more deliberate about how to do things better because they didn't work out the first time, is kind of what I have taken into 2019, that I would not necessarily repeat the same mistakes. I tagged Sharon on a tweet the other day that says, if you want to know if you're growing, ask yourself, am I making the same mistakes I was making last year, right? And so I guess that's what I'm taking with me, that I can't fall into the same pits, you know?
So for me, I remember when I turned 26 last year, I was like, I was saying to Sihle, I'm an adult, I can make my own choices. Like,
I can say no.
I was like, I can say no, I can say yes, I literally had a new thought. And I mean, it sounds very obvious, but I was like, I can make my own decision regarding my own life. And this year tested that, this year tested, are you really able to make a decision, stand behind it, and continue, make decisions that you understand that are best for your life, no matter how difficult it is to make that decision. The important thing is that I actually found that I can be in my own corner and stay there and not like flop around in there. I can actually stand there and work out why I believe what I believe, why I stand for this, which I think has been so valuable for even my own, like, girl, maybe you are growing up, maybe you are a little bit of an adult now, you know what I'm saying?
You're a real adult.
I'm a real adult, so this year has really challenged me that way.
So how are you keeping motivated?
How am I keeping motivated? I was saying it to you guys the other day. I was like, it's getting harder. Yes, the finish line is in sight. So finishing, graduation, all these exciting things. And it was like, oh, I should be running to the finish line. Nope. crawling. You know, I'm really, I don't know if I'm keeping motivated maybe because I'm breaking it up into a day. So I'm like, today, just try today to get through this day. Go to the ward round, come on, you know, wake up, see the patient, you know. And doing it like that, I think, is making it a little bit more manageable, because even now the countdown is on the number of days that are left. And so it makes it like, oh, if it's the number of days, then I can maybe finish well. And I think if you think about it, like, I just want to finish well end of the year versus do this day well, it will mean that the next day will also be a little bit better. It has made it a little bit easier for me.
As a reflection point, I think journaling is also a really good way of keeping in touch and aware of what's actually going on. And I was writing back to somebody on my blog the other day on how people can just journal better. Keep your journal next to your bed, have a pen inside it, make time to actually think through. And I don't think you wait for 1st of January to start thinking about what's next. Like right now, what's the meaning of what you're doing with your time, with your energy, with yourself as a human being?
Can I ask something?
It's occurred to me for the first time. I read something the other day that says you're gonna die alone. like you carry yourself everywhere that you go, and it's so important that you are investing in that personal relationship with yourself as a person and making time for it the same way you make time for everything else. You know.
If we can know, what's the content of your journaling these days?
What's the content of my journaling these days? What did I journal about? So yesterday I was thinking, when I journaled yesterday, I was thinking about how I want to do the week, because the time is running so fast. There's so many things that I have to do. Like, how will I do that? Or also, like, I feel like this year I've come to such a big level of self-actualization, being like, you finding the roots of everything that I do. And being able to be like, you're not going to repeat that. My biggest lesson, so this is, I'm going on and on. My biggest lesson this year comes from a talk I listened to by Esther Perel, of saying you have to make ultimatums with yourself about your life. You don't wait for other people to be like, if they don't do this, then I'm not. It's like, what am I doing, because this is me, and this is how I'm likely to act if I don't do this or don't do it that way. Like, what ultimatums are you making with yourself as a person? I don't know. So those have been my reflections about my own consciousness. Like, Sihle,
it's keeping you motivated.
This is what makes you feel. It makes me feel like I'm more in touch with me, and I think that's really important. Carrying that consciousness,
Because I think to a certain extent, the whole being more in touch with you and what you're thinking and what you're feeling and what you're going through makes you feel more like yourself, which then, for me, breeds a more easy motivation. So you kind of feel more comfortable in spaces, more engaged at work. Because what I was telling you is, for a while I wasn't journaling, and it kind of just felt like there's so many things in my brain. So I'm in a meeting, but there's just other things whizzing around. And then you ask the question and it's so, where am I? You know? So I was going through that for like months on end, because I just wasn't journaling. And then last week when I started, feeling lighter already, sitting, contributing, and just a lot more engaged, which is cool. So journaling I definitely highly recommend. But so interesting, as I was listening to both of you speak, it almost, I'm praying this holds true, but it feels like the 20s now are a lot of almost being comfortable with, this is me. So almost having personal convictions that you can stand on. So coming to a point, which I think is a nice setup for the 30s, if it's true that the 30s are.
Nice setup, that's a nice setup. Yeah, that's cool.
If it's true that the 30s you're entirely comfortable with yourself, then I'd imagine that this is the grounding of, you get to a point where I'm comfortable being in this corner and everyone else is there, and I'm actually like, guys,
this is my corner.
And I understand that it makes sense, you know, and I can live in that space, because I think it's important that sometimes you should be able to be in your corner. If people come alongside, it's fantastic. If they don't, see guys,
write the vision down.
Not almost, not in a rude way, but almost in a, I do think eventually you need to learn that skill when you grow up.
And I mean, it's either you pursue it or it's going to happen to you. Like, it's going to happen to you, that you're going to have to learn how to you know, to manage that, or you pursue it.
That's the thing you were saying to me last week about how you don't want to fall into a life.
And that's one of my greatest reflections. It's just, it's so easy to fall into a life
because it's just routine.
Live a life. And I think it's probably one of the, I'm very passionate about this topic. I think it's many people have fallen into a life where it's just you're fallen in, and I think journaling stops that as well. Where how do I engage my life?
Oh.
By writing down what my day was like, what my week was like. I start engaging my life. Versus, I go to work, you come back here at 6 p.m., you have dinner, you maybe read a book, you sleep. You do the same thing 5 days a week, but you're never engaging your life. And reminding yourself that I actually care about what I do. I should care about that meeting.
Do I care about what I'm doing?
I mean, all those things, man. So I think that's one of my biggest reflections is just don't fall into your life.
And also just to acknowledge, like, as much as this, you know, these are our ideas of good life, like, it's probably pretty tough. Like, the anxiety is rising at the end of the year, because of maybe dreams not realized or goals that have not been, you know.
Like, how do people who feel like they have unfulfilled dreams and stuff, where do you go from there? Because I think it's such a real thing.
I definitely think it's
and we sound like a bit of people who sound like their lives are going good, but in reality, we also struggle with stuff.
Because I mean, I think you're quite optimistic at the beginning of the year, so you're probably right now sitting with more things that you haven't done than what you have done from your list. But there's still a lot of things that you've done that were kind of like
maybe weren't on the list.
They were not on the list, but there were surprises, and you wouldn't be able to tick those off if you were never reflecting on them, right? So I do think that in order to not despair at this point of the things that you didn't do, maybe try and write out the things that did happen, the positive things that did happen, so that it's almost like your mind doesn't sink into that. Oh, I couldn't do these 10 things. You did 18 other amazing ones, you know, and other people could probably testify of them as well. And I think a thing that we sometimes do as friends on birthdays, whatever, is kind of encourage a person to speak about them, like who you are, what you are. And I think maybe try to be intentional about going into circles like that, or asking people, and it's not pompous, it's just being like, you know, how have you experienced me this year? What's been different? Or like, where do you think I've grown? Or, you know, having that real feedback from people who interact with you, and they're the ones that interface with the thing that you think you're putting out. And getting that kind of a feedback, I think that's great.
Also inviting like a very intentional support, I think is really helpful. So for me, at some point in the year, I was like, things are sinking. I was like, I actually needed a life coach, right? And then I think it sounds so strange, and it's like so extra. It sounds so freaking strange. Like I even find it difficult saying it, but it's probably one of like the most like, deliberate decisions that I made. And there's a lot of life coaches who are actually free because they are doing like in-service training work. But it's such an incredible support, like that. Trying to revamp your life is like it's not an easy thing. It's like when you're sick, you bring a doctor in. When you need spiritual healing, you go to church. When you need support, you go to your family and friends. But what do you do with your mind? What do you do with like your life? You know what I mean? Like in terms of getting the right skill set. And I think you need to learn those and not take it lightly that you're just supposed to have it, because I think that feeling is also as overwhelming, right?
That's true.
So guys, look, we want to normalize that for all the different feelings that can happen throughout the year. But to say like, you're here, you're alive, you're still breathing, you know, you're able to watch this right now, and so there's a lot of things to be grateful for, as much as the year is ending, you know.
You're having a more vast view of what the meaning of
being
alive, what is good.
Because just one last thing, because I guess it's so easy to get stuck to lists and to forget that life is about so many other things.
That's where we're going to end the video. We hope in some ways that you are thinking more positively about where you are in your life, and we hope this did. Bye!